Aspire to inspire before you expire. It's pretty deep.
Inspire before you expire. I like that. In honor of Black History Month, VENN is doing its part by spotlighting Black creators. My name is Darnell Murphy, and today I'll be joined by the one and only John Imah. John, how you doing?
Good. Oh, wow. I'm honored. I mean, I think, Black History Month for me is a really big deal. And so I'm really excited to be here and be your first guest on stage.
Okay. How does it feel that now you're in these big companies such as Twitch, Snapchat, Facebook?
Yeah, I think when I had my own startup, it was cool because as a young kid, I had this vision of, hey, I want to start my own game company. I want to make games. And so naturally you're by yourself, you have to figure it all out. And so as you start to transition into like these gigantic big companies, they already have a recipe for success, what works for them. And it's all about how do you like plug in and play to that. And so for me, it was an interesting transition because I started off as like an entrepreneur, and every role that I've had has been like a newly formed role that was created basically for me, which has been really cool. And so I've slowly transitioned into, I guess, like what's the right word I'm looking for? An entrepreneur, where I'm basically like inside these companies as an entrepreneur, building out like amazing new tools, products, initiatives to basically like help their business. And so it's been a fantastic ride. I mean, I've been very fortunate to work for a lot of like amazing places.
Yeah, I mean, those are all places where like my parents would know. And for me, like at this point, that's like how I get like, that's how I can measure my success. I'm like, oh, Mom, I'm here. They're like, where? I'm like, Twitch. Oh yeah, Twitch.
Right.
Where people are like, playing games. I'm like, yeah, Mom, like, that's what's happening.
Funny, I mean, with my dad, so my parents are from Nigeria. And so when I first told my dad about Twitch, I was trying to explain to him what Twitch was in terms of like people watching people play games. It's like, why would you go to a company like that?
He's like, what?
Yeah, he just didn't get it, right? And so I think once you got acquired by Amazon, now he's at the golf course saying, hey, my son is at...
He's over at Twitch.
Yeah, exactly. So it clicked in. But yeah, I mean, it's been a fun, amazing ride. I'm, just very, again, just fortunate to be able to work at all these amazing places.
So you started with your startup company, you're an entrepreneur working in these big companies, and now people are coming for you because your voice is it's solidified now. What is an accomplishment you're proud of?
An accomplishment I'm proud of. I think for me, early on in my career, I started to realize when I used to go into a lot of these like conference meetings, I'd be like the only Black person in the room, right? In fact, every single role I've had in my corporate career, I've been the first Black person ever to have that role.
You serve as inspiration to some people, but who serves as an inspiration to you?
Yeah, so I'd say my biggest inspiration is probably my mom. My mom believed in me before I believed in myself. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's not interesting because parents, I think, naturally do this. My mom would tell me how smart I was, how capable, how I was going to do amazing things on this earth. And so it didn't really click in with me until she passed away. She passed away from breast cancer when I was in college. And so it was really at that moment in time where I was like, okay, I really need to figure out what I want to do with my life. And also I want to make her proud, right?
What advice would you have for someone of color trying to get into the industry?
Yeah, so I think first, for me, I was very fortunate because like at 7 years old, I knew what I wanted to do. I took apart my first computer. My parents were like, they didn't really understand what tech was, but I did. It just was like a naturally like gifted talent that I had. And so I think for a lot of people that want to get into the space, it's identifying what you want to do, right? And so I think from there, it's really, I think the world has changed so much. There's so much information online from like YouTube to LinkedIn and so forth, to really, where you can go on there and like research things. And so I think the second thing is really just researching, right? Yeah. And sort of understanding like the different type of roles or jobs that you could see yourself doing. And then from there, it's really just like applying.
As someone who like enacts all these different strategies and plans, like which ones have like stuck out to you?
Yeah, so I'd say I'll mention one for Black History Month and one just non-Black History Month. I think specific for Black History Month, the work that we've been doing at Snapchat, so last year and this year has been amazing. And so we basically made it a point of ours to really promote Black creators, just anything going on in the world that's relevant to Black history on our platform. And so it's been really inspiring from like Evan, our CEO, and just like literally the entire workforce to really stand behind it and say, hey, we're gonna do everything we can to promote that.
You have now come such a ways, and you work with so many noticeable creators that are Black. Like, how has it been being able to work with so many fellow creators and individuals that look like yourself?
I think it's been amazing. I think one of the things that I've always want to see during my sort of career and anything I do is just more of us in the fields that I'm doing, right? And so I think, naturally, when I started to see more of us around me, it just helped inspire me more. I'm like, wow, people are really starting to catch on that, we deserve a voice, we deserve a seat at the table, we're creative, we're talented. And so it's just been amazing, especially in sort of the positions that I've been in, to really help bring people up or help, hire creators or whatever the sort of strategy was around that. And so it's just been so fun to see that rise of, entertainers as creators.
Something my mom used to tell me is that, rising tides raise all ships.
Absolutely.
And it's great that you're able to do that. You're in a position where you're able to bring other people up. And you said people reached out to you online and to really speak to your accolades. Is there, in many ways, you're someone's inspiration out there. Because of John Imah, we're able to have, the next whoever rise up and get a chance to show what they have, what they can bring to the table. What advice would you have for someone of color trying to get into the industry?
Yeah, so I think first, for me, I was very fortunate because at 7 years old, I knew what I wanted to do. I took apart my first computer. My parents were like, they didn't really understand what tech was, but I did. It just was a naturally gifted talent that I had. And so I think for a lot of people that want to get into the space, it's identifying what you want to do, right? And so I think from there, it's really, I think the world has changed so much. There's so much information online from YouTube to LinkedIn and so forth, to really, where you can go on there and research things. And so I think the second thing is really just researching, right?
Yeah.
And sort of understanding the different type of roles or jobs that you could see yourself doing. And then from there, it's really just applying.
I would sit here and talk to you for the next 2 hours if I could, but thank you so much for joining us.
No, I mean, thank you guys for inviting me. I think what you guys are doing here is, awesome, and it's really inspiring for me too, right? I never would have thought that I would be on this couch talking about Black History Month, right? It's just something that it kind of shows that the world is starting to get a lot better, right? And people really are starting to care about us. And so I would sleep on this couch. So thank you for that.
I mean, thank you. I mean, again, it's your accolades have allowed in ways that I can probably never put pen to paper and describe the things you've done have led to situations like this where I have the opportunity to be on the couch and talk to people like you. And who knows who I'll get in tomorrow and who has inspired them. I mean, I might come full circle and find someone that's John is a really inspirational. I had John in episode 3. He's my first studio guest. But again, thank you so much for coming through, man.
Thank you.
And folks at home, we'll have more guests throughout the month as we continue our celebration of Black History Month. In the meantime, head on over to the VENN Download YouTube channel, and please be sure to like and subscribe to get more great content like this. And of course, stay awesome.
Hey, thanks for watching The Download. Make sure to check out the full episode on VENN.tv, and you can check out more of our greatest moments ever on YouTube over at Watch VENN. You don't want to miss it.